You keep wearing that "I'm fine" face like it's your favorite outfit, like it's your uniform, like you don't know how to walk into a room unless you're pretending you're unbothered. And oh, you've gotten so good at it. It's scary, because now people don't even ask if you're okay anymore. They just assume you are. You trained them to believe you don't need anything. You trained them to believe you can handle everything. And they believed you. Of course they did. But let's not lie to ourselves. The "I'm fine" isn't confidence, it's survival. It's you trying to stay ahead of disappointment. It's you acting like you don't care because caring made you look stupid before. Caring made you look needy. Caring made you sit there waiting for someone who never showed up. So now you don't care. At least that's what you tell people. But inside, you care more than anyone knows.
You're the kind of person who'll be breaking inside and still say, "Don't worry about me." You'll be drowning and still reply, "All good." You'll be collapsing mentally, but you'll still show up smiling like you're made of stone. You act like your pain is private property, like nobody has permission to see it, and you think that makes you strong. But it doesn't. It just makes you invisible. And here's the thing. Being invisible becomes addictive, because if nobody sees you, nobody can disappoint you, nobody can judge you, nobody can abandon you again. So you start living small. You stop expressing, you stop asking, you stop expecting, and you tell yourself it's maturity, but it's fear wearing a polite shirt. You laugh at things that hurt you. You let disrespect slide like it didn't sting. You forgive too fast. You stay calm in moments where you should have walked away. You answer late replies like they're not insulting. You accept "I've been busy" like you don't know what it really means. And oh, you know. You always know. You just keep pretending you don't, because pretending is easier than admitting you deserve better. That's the real mask, not the smile, the tolerance, the way you keep letting people treat you like you're easy to replace, like you're always available, like you're always understanding, like you're always the one who will stay. And that's why they keep leaving you half-fed, because you never demanded a full meal. The scariest part? This mask didn't start as weakness. It started as protection. You built it after too many moments where you were real, and someone punished you for it. You built it because being honest cost you. Because once you showed your emotions, people used them. Once you showed your softness, people stepped on it. So you decided, fine, I'll become someone no one can read.
But when no one can read you, no one can truly love you either. They can only love the version of you that performs, the version that doesn't complain, the version that doesn't ask, the version that doesn't need. And oh, that version is exhausting. You're tired not because life is hard, but because you're carrying a character every day. You're acting like you're okay, while your soul is begging for one person to notice you're not. but nobody notices because you never let them. And this is where it hits. You weren't being strong. You were being easy. Easy to ignore. Easy to use. Easy to forget. And you call it being low maintenance. But low maintenance people don't get valued. They get taken for granted. So listen. Stop wearing "I'm fine" like a badge. Stop hiding behind it. Stop performing stability for people who never cared about your breakdowns. Because one day, if you keep doing this, you won't just feel numb. You'll become numb. And that's not strength. That's surrender.
And this is where it gets ugly, because it's not just that you don't trust people anymore, it's that you don't even trust yourself. You don't trust your own judgment because you remember the last time you trusted someone and you were wrong. Not a little wrong, humiliating wrong. The kind of wrong that made you look back at yourself and think, how did I not see it? The kind that makes you question your instincts like they're broken. So now you second-guess everything. You reread messages. You study tone. You replay conversations in your head like you're an investigator in your own heartbreak, trying to find the exact moment you should have walked away. And oh, that messes you up. Because the brain starts living in defense mode. It starts scanning for danger, even in normal situations. Someone doesn't reply fast enough. You feel abandoned. Someone's quiet. You assume they're losing interest. Someone laughs, and your mind asks, are they laughing at me? You don't even wait for proof anymore, because your nervous system already decided the ending. And that's the tragedy. You're not living life anymore. You're predicting it.
And you think you're being smart. You think you're being careful. But what you're really doing is building a cage out of your past. And inside that cage, you start betraying yourself just to avoid another betrayal. You stop speaking up because you don't trust your voice. You stop asking because you don't trust your needs. You stop expecting love because you don't trust that you deserve it. So you live half alive and call it peace. But it's not peace, it's survival. And survival isn't the same as living. Because the real problem isn't just that people hurt you. It's that now you don't believe you can protect yourself from it. You don't believe you'll choose right. You don't believe you'll walk away early enough. You don't believe you'll stand up for yourself when it matters. So you try to control everything. And when you can't, you shut down. You isolate. You disappear.
Not because you love being alone. No. Because being alone feels safer than trusting your own heart again. Because at least alone, you can't be fooled. At least alone, nobody can surprise you. At least alone, you don't have to gamble. But here's the brutal truth, and it might sting. You can't build a strong life without trust. And the first person you have to learn to trust again is you. Because until you trust yourself, every relationship will feel like a threat. Every friendship will feel like a risk. Every love will feel like a trap. And you'll keep calling it boundaries, but deep down, it's fear wearing a smarter name. And this is the part nobody talks about, because it doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't look like heartbreak in the movies. It doesn't look like screaming or crying or some big betrayal where everyone can see the villain. No, it's the small betrayals, the tiny ones, the ones people dismiss, but they stack. They stack so quietly that one day you wake up and you don't even recognize who you've become. Because it wasn't one knife that broke you, it was 1,000 little cuts. It was the way someone promised they'd call and didn't. The way they said, "I'm busy," like your feelings were something they could schedule. The way they looked at you while you were talking and their eyes weren't listening. The way they laughed when you were serious, like your pain was entertainment. The way they showed up for everybody else, but for you got the leftovers. And oh, it's the worst kind of betrayal, because you start questioning yourself. You start saying, maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe it wasn't that deep. Maybe I'm asking for too much. But you weren't asking for too much. You were asking for basic respect, basic consistency.
And people don't always betray you with cruelty. Sometimes they betray you with carelessness. They don't hate you. They just don't value you enough to be careful with you. And that's what makes it disgusting. Because they'll still sleep peacefully. They'll still laugh. They'll still post their little happy lives while you're sitting there replaying everything like it's a crime scene. And what do? You stay quiet. You swallow it. You smile. You keep showing up. You keep forgiving. Not because you're strong, but because you're terrified of being called too much. And every time you swallow your pain, you teach people a dangerous lesson, that you will tolerate being treated like an option. You teach them that your boundaries are flexible, that your dignity is negotiable, that you'll stay even when they don't show up for you.
And that becomes your problem, because now they don't even feel guilty, because you made it easy. You made disrespect feel normal. You made inconsistency feel acceptable. You made neglect feel like it had no consequences. And the worst part, you start doing it to yourself too. You start betraying yourself in the same small ways. You stop listening to your gut. You stop honoring your needs. You stop expecting better. You stop walking away when something feels wrong, because you've trained yourself to survive disappointment. So you keep letting people take pieces of you, and you call it being mature. But it's not maturity. It's self-abandonment. And that quiet damage, that's what turns you cold. Not one big betrayal, but years of small ones that taught you the world won't protect you unless you stop being easy.
And here's where something shifts. Not loud, not dramatic, but deep. Because after enough small betrayals, you stop expecting the world to be fair.
You stop expecting people to suddenly grow hearts. And oh, that's when the truth starts creeping in. Maybe being alone isn't the enemy. Maybe being alone is the first time you can finally breathe. Because let's be honest, most of the pain you've been carrying wasn't from being alone. It was from being around people who made you feel alone. That's the worst kind of loneliness. Being surrounded but still unheard, still unseen, still treated like you're only valuable when you're useful. So you start pulling back. At first, it's accidental. You stop texting first. You stop explaining. You stop chasing. And you tell yourself, I'm just tired. But deep down, you're not tired. You're waking up. You're realizing how peaceful it feels when nobody's draining you. How quiet life becomes when you stop trying to prove yourself to people who already decided you weren't enough.
And that's when the fear hits. Because being alone forces you to face something you've avoided your whole life. Your own thoughts, your own patterns, your own wounds. And oh, that silence feels scary at first. Because in silence you can't hide behind anybody. You can't blame anybody. You can't distract yourself with someone else's chaos. It's just you. And that's why most people run back into toxic relationships, not because they miss the person, but because they miss the distraction. They miss having someone to focus on so they don't have to focus on themselves. But you're learning something powerful. Alone isn't the enemy. Alone is the training ground. Alone is where you rebuild your standards. Alone is where you remember who you were before the world taught you to shrink. Alone is where you get your spine back. Because when you're alone, you start hearing your own voice again. And that voice starts saying things you've been scared to admit. I deserve more. I don't want crumbs. I don't want half effort. I don't want love that disappears when it's inconvenient. And that's the turning point, when loneliness stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like protection. Like maybe the universe didn't isolate you to hurt you. Maybe it isolated you to save you. Because some people you couldn't heal around them. Some environments you couldn't grow inside them. Some connections were slowly killing your self-respect. So now, being alone isn't rejection, it's refinement. It's you choosing peace over performance. It's you choosing your sanity over being liked. It's you realizing that solitude is safer than being surrounded by people who keep betraying you in small ways. And once you feel that, once you taste that peace, you'll never beg to be included again. And this is where it ends, not with anger, not with revenge, but with a vow, a quiet vow, a vow you make in your own chest when nobody is watching, when the world is asleep, and you finally get tired of being easy. Because, oh, being easy didn't save you. Being easy didn't make them stay. Being easy didn't make them respect you. It just made you convenient. It just made you available. It just made you replaceable. And the moment you realize that, something inside you hardens, not into hate, not into cruelty,
Into standards, into self-respect, into a spine that doesn't bend just because someone gives you a little attention. You stop being the person who tries to earn love. You become the person who requires it to be real. Because the truth is, they didn't value you because you didn't value you. You kept showing people you'll stay even when they disrespect you, so they kept disrespecting you. You kept forgiving without consequences, so they kept breaking you. You kept giving more than you received, and they took it like it was your job. But not anymore. Now you live by a new rule. If you don't protect your peace, nobody will. If you don't enforce your boundaries, nobody will. If you don't demand respect, nobody will. So the oath becomes simple. You stop being easy to access. You stop being easy to drain. You stop being easy to leave. Because from now on,
Your presence is expensive, not in money, in effort, in consistency, in maturity, in loyalty, in truth. And anybody who wants you, they have to earn you, not with words. Words are cheap. They have to earn you with actions that match, with showing up, with respecting your time, with respecting your silence, with respecting your no. Because if they only love you when you're soft, they don't love you. They love the version of you they can control, and you're done being controlled. So you become hard to lose, not because you play games, but because you stop giving your heart to people who treat it like a toy. You become hard to lose because you become whole without anyone. You become hard to lose because you stop begging. You become hard to lose because you stop chasing. You become hard to lose because you stop settling. And here's the part that hurts them the most. When you become hard to lose, you also become impossible to replace. Because they can't find another you. They might find someone new. They might find someone pretty. They might find someone entertaining. But they won't find your loyalty again. They won't find your patience again. They won't find your depth again. And they'll realize it too late. So let them go. Let them walk. Let them disappear. Because the next time someone tries to treat you like an option, they'll realize fast you're not available. You're not begging. You're not fighting to be chosen. You're already chosen by you. And that's the final oath. You stop being easy. You stop being disposable. You stop being the person who stays too long. From now on, you become the kind of person they regret losing. Because you never return to anyone who didn't see your value the first time. And oh, That's not revenge. That's growth. That's power. That's peace. That's the moment you finally become hard to lose.